I read the plan, I thought it sounded great. I just didn't understand what happens with the existing tolls under this plan. And also, there was something about the fast pass thing changing. I didn't quite understand how that fits in.
Okay, tell me your first name.
Catherine.
Catherine. K or C?
With a C.
Catherine, you asked about what happens with the tolls, meaning the toll increase as
The
proposed?
toll increases and the existing tolls. We're
Right.
just going to keep those in place.
So the toll increase would not happen with this gas tax we have proposed. We're not going to have both the toll increase and the gas tax increase. There's been some confusion about that out there, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but what about next year?
Yeah.
Well, let me.
Are they going to raise them again next year?
They're going to go up because they have to go up, but they're never going to go up that fast. They're never going to go. It's a doubling at the tunnel. There is a schedule in the. Did I mention this already? The schedule in the bonding. We're trying to do some catch up basically, and to get stabilized. So they wouldn't go up for a couple of years. They're certainly not going to go up that steep again. What we have looked at, does this idea of border tolls, have you heard this idea before? Yeah. So you can do, you can't do tolling at borders unless you have the permission of the federal government. I'm oversimplifying, but you can't do tolling on roads, federal roads that were not built as toll roads. So we have a border toll at the New York line on the pike, right? That's a border toll. We have something like a border toll at 84 when it comes in from Connecticut. It's not quite at the border, but it's close. Those we can certainly raise. When we I first heard the idea of border tolls from someone who called me on a radio talk show, and I asked the transportation folks about it, and they said, well, you know, it'll never happen. You can't just do it. But then we asked the federal transportation authorities, and they were more open to it than we thought. And so we're having that conversation. Jeff has started it, and also with Rhode Island and New Hampshire. Now, I'm sorry I'm digressing here, but it's actually kind of an interesting little, for me, an interesting little twist. You can imagine that the enthusiasm about border tolls is different at the borders than it is, you know, in Worcester, for example. You know, there are regional nuances in this whole thing. We have run scenarios where if you had border tolls at a certain level, could you then take down all tolls inside the Commonwealth? Maybe except for something modest at the tunnel. And would that be enough displacement of revenue? And of course it depends on a bunch of things. It depends on what you do with the gas tax, how high those tolls are. Who asked the question about Kathleen? Who's Kathleen? Kathleen, you were asking the question about tolls on 93 and additional toll. The exploration of this idea I've just been talking about has been in this context. In other words, if people were saying, look, if I use the tunnel and the turnpike and pay a toll, is it really equitable? And frankly, you know, I think it was the TFC talked about user fees on all roads, right? Yes. Right. Which could get you to this technology question that freaks so many people out, right? About the chip, so you can track. Do you see what I mean? So you can track, because you wouldn't want to. Whatever you did, you wanted to have something that keeps people moving, where you're not idling at toll booths and all that sort of thing.
Can I just one second?
Yeah, go ahead.
On that very issue. First